Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today, inshallah, is our 9th day of our dua challenge. Sal ta'ta, ask and you shall be given. Today, what I'm going to briefly speak about would be the adab of the dua, or the etiquettes of dua. There are a lot of adabs that are mentioned in the ahadith, and most of the believers are aware of them. These adab are related to the timing of your dua, the timing of your calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the places in which you seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings, and you put your needs in front of Him. These are the times that Allah has put high spatial and temporal energy in them, and these are the dua that most of the scholars says that they are guaranteed, or your dua is guaranteed to be accepted. These times that we know, maybe you've read about them. They're the times in which, for example, we have rain. Rain is a time in which dua is accepted. At the time of sujood in our salah, could be the last third of every night, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to the closest sky. It could be the time of Asr, after Asr on the day of Jum'ah. And then we have some days, some very special days, like Ramadan is coming upon us inshallah with barakah and khair. And then we have Laylatul Qadr in it, we have Yawm Arafah. These are the timings in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a lot of blessings, and there is high chances of our du'as being accepted at these times. The scholars themselves, they have difference of opinion on some of these times and places in which Allah accepts the du'as. So they do not agree on all of them. Some people believe that it is best to do dua secluded from the world, in the silence of the night, sitting on your musalla, not communicating with other people around you. All of this is recommended. All of this is highly recommended. They're called the mustahab etiquettes of the dua, or the recommended etiquettes of the dua. There is no doubt that these are very blessed and high inspirational times in which Allah accepts the dua, but it is very important that we understand as believers that these are not the only conditions of our dua to be accepted. Any dua while you are lying down on your bed, while you are driving, while you are cooking, while you are teaching your children, while you are communicating with anybody, and you have this sincere feeling in your heart that may Allah do certain thing, or allow me to do certain thing, or give me certain blessing, do it on the spot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only king that to get close to Him, you don't need to get an appointment. You don't need to seek permission. He's always there, and He's the only king that is always present to listen to whatever you want to say. So don't lose any opportunity of connecting with Allah and doing a sincere dua to Him just by thinking, oh, the time is not right, or I should be doing my sajda, or I should be waiting to the last third of the night, or I'll do it in Ramadan and I'll do it in Yawm Arafah. It does not mean that these days are not important and you don't work, you strive to do dua in them. In fact, I would highly recommend that everybody, before the beginning of these blessed days or these blessed times, you prepare yourself mentally, you prepare yourself physically, you sit down and spiritually prepare yourself to do dua in these times. These are very blessed times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these specific times in which He accepts the tasbih, or the praise and the remembrance of His believers, and He says, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ قَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الشَّمْسِ وَقَبْلَ غُرُوبِهَا, and praise your Lord before the sunrise and before the sunset. Now these are very high energy timings in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the dua of the believers. But remember that Allah also said in the Quran, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah wants to make things easier for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make things light on you. He does not want to overburden you. And by waiting for these times and delaying what you want to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are making things difficult for you. There is a blessing, my dear sisters and audience, in the beginnings of things, the beginning of a year, the beginning of Ramadan, the day of Arafah, the beginning of a month, the beginning of the weeks. These are very high energy times in which the energy of so many people gets together and is blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, because beginnings of things and ends of things, they are quite important in the sight of Allah. So I encourage you now, you know, to make sure that you do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any position you are, in any state you are, at any time you want to do. Yeah, keep in mind the blessed hours, the blessed times, but at the same time be sincere in your dua. Jazakumullahu khairan. See you tomorrow.